フルカウンター
Alright boys, welcome back. So we actually have some global news that is not actually clickbait, but it has some insight towards how the game is going to release and what we can kind of expect when the game comes out. If you've not been keeping up to date about what's happening with global, then let me explain it. So recently we had Anime Expo and Black Clover Mobile was featured there. People were able to play the game early, but nothing's really come from the gameplay. But more or less what was at the booth. What I'm about to show you may be peak Black Clover Mobile, for being honest. But other than that, the only thing that we saw was some artwork that still featured Clover Academy Yuno, who was actually removed from the game and got replaced with Blue Yami instead. Still very unlikely that the character released on global first, but you never know, you never know. But thankfully, Black Clover Mobile explained on Twitter, actually went to the booth himself or herself and actually asked some questions, and we got a bit of an insight of how the game's going to release, the delays in global, and some other information that you might find interesting, and also some things that have kind of confirmed what I've been told by the global devs too, so let's jump into it. Okay, so this is how you start the tweet off. I swung around the Black Clover panel yesterday. No new information, but some interesting tidbits. Number one is Garena, the people behind the global launch. Reps say that the players will be satisfied when it comes to the mismatch between JP Korea and also global. So obviously this means the global side is going to be behind, but not too far. Or at least to the point that we'll be satisfied. What's that mean? Okay, so if you were around when the Black Clover mobile game launched a few weeks ago now, the actual game started off with two banners, or three. We had the Clover Academy characters, which was obviously Asta, Mimosa, and obviously Yami as well, in their seasonal outfits for Season 1. And we also got Fagolion and also Yami on one banner. This is very likely now that this is not how Global is going to start, and we may jump ahead of the game. I will add that a while ago, during another playtest of Black Clover Mobile Global side, we saw that the actual reroll banner was different and featured Charlotte in the banner. Charlotte was a step up on JP after the release of the game, so we most likely going to be skipping all of that portion and probably jumping ahead to, I can imagine, like Fana and Licht, for example, right? Also, it brings up the question about the seasonal characters. Season 2 is obviously heavily themed towards summer, and if the game is releasing at the end of July, sometime around August, then that will still be a good time to release the seasonal characters. But if they start off with Season 1, which is the Clover Academy characters, and then to get the seasonal characters 1 month later, it may be a bit our place. So we might actually start off with Season 2 for our Season 1 banner, which will feature Noelle, who's I mean, once again, by far the best character in the game. And if we start off with this banner right now, I mean, it's going to be insane. Like, I genuinely cannot wait for it. And this is actually one thing that I actually asked the global team myself. When I actually got to ask one of the devs, I asked them, will the gap between JP and global be massive? But they actually told me, and it's kind of reiterating what was told to us, Black Clover Mobile explained. And he just explained that the gap will be there, but not as big as you think. The next thing he goes on to say is a lot of content ideas, animations, etc. got scrapped due to IP limitations. Not entirely too sure what that means, because that's kind of insinuating that the Black Clover, the IP itself, is the reason why they couldn't do things. Someone actually explains what was actually scrapped, and Black Clover Mobile says that Yuno's actual animation was meant to slice an actual watermelon to cool off at the beach, which was scrapped. Not entirely too sure how that is, you know, limited towards the IP and more or less the game devs themselves, the fact they can't animate it and like make it look good. I'm not entirely too sure, but instead we just got like a shark, which doesn't even look like a shark. It's just kind of like a wind blade. Once again, I really hope the animations do change. I mean, it's only the start of the game, but I imagine the animations in the future will get a lot more crazy. One thing I wonder that was scrapped was the actual big boss we saw in the first trailer. Once again, that could just be made for the actual, you know, purpose of the trailer, but we did see Asta go up against the massive demon that many of us thought would actually be the summer animation, but that boss was never seen in the game and we never got to play against it, right? So maybe that's something they mean by scrap content, but I guess we'll never know. He also got to say that my 2 cents, I've heard but haven't confirmed there's a possibility that Global release with more chapters than JP and KR did, which once again kind of just tells us that they're most likely going to skip forward a few updates rather than starting them back at 0 like how JP and KR did. We're about to get Chapter 5, so it's very possible by the time the global version comes out, we would actually start off with Chapter 5 or start off at Chapter 4. And the big question right now is, why did Global get delayed? Now, they haven't actually said release date, so technically speaking, it's not been delayed, but many YouTubers, including myself, actually had a confirmed release date behind the scenes, which was honestly about a week from now. But unfortunately, they had to delay it, so technically it did get delayed, but like not publicly. But as for delay, no real reason or even confirmation was given. Garena rep did say that there's a lot of optimization happening behind the scenes, so that the negative feedback that was collected through JP and KR can be worked on to ensure a better game comes out for Global. And that's obviously the most important thing, right? I mean, Global global release has to be massive. There's honestly a lot of problems right now with the JP side, with the farming, and the whole gameplay loop and the actual drop rate. So if that was changed and fixed by the time it comes to global, then there isn't really that much problems, and people can play the game without dropping it after 2 weeks. And I guess this does make sense because right now, especially in the first month, there have been a lot of bugs, especially with the maintenance extending them for like 13 hours. There's been so many bugs recently on JP and KR that it makes sense why Global got delayed, because they want to release the game perfectly. So once again, they're not hindered by a bad launch. And at that point, the only ones they can blame is themselves rather than a bad launch because of bad optimization. So boys, that is kind of it for the global updates and what we have so far. Once again, if you guys are and you watch to the end and you want to stay for global content, we'll be covering it up until release. I'm still covering the game right now for JP and KR, but obviously I want to go crazy, and I plan to go crazy once global comes out, because that's when the main game kind of starts, right? Let me know what you guys think, and are you going to be switching over to global when it does come out, or if you're even going to start playing it, because I assume most people are still waiting for global. So boys, thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.